Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Hi, I'm Shannon Sweeney. I've been a player or coach for most of my life, and I understand the need to keep our kids motivated and safe. As a parent and coach, I also understand the need to make sure our children are protected. That's why insurance is as an important part of the game as a good coach is. I've known my fellow coach, Wayne Dietz, for 10 years. I've seen him motivate and inspire players both on and off the floor. I've also seen him make sure that our children are safe by making sure that the teams are properly insured. As a coach, we don't often think about insurance, and when you work with Wayne and his team at D&H Risk Solutions, you won't have to. They take care of everything with honesty and integrity so that you can focus on what you do best, coaching your team to victory.
Good evening. Welcome to Vernon Vibes. This evening's issue of Vernon Vibes is the last time that I'll be speaking to you as the mayor of Vernon, and I want to start it this evening by thanking you, all of my loyal viewers and the folks who have watched the show over the past 3.5 years. It's because of you that I put the effort into trying to keep people informed of what's going on here and what was going on here in Vernon Township and in the government as well as around town. So it's a bit of a bittersweet evening. We've talked about the election, and frankly, that's behind me, and I've spent the time since the last edition of Vernon Vibes buttoning up those projects that were in progress when the election took place. So I'd like to, if I may, start off by giving you a quick recap. Some of it you will know. Those of you who may have come to the show for the first time or one of the few times might be interested to find out that at this point in time, all of the major projects that were set for calendar year 2015 by this administration and this government have in fact been finished, or for all intents and purposes, essentially finished. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Let's start with Lake Walkill Road. The Lake Walkill Road project, I believe, has turned into a huge success and a huge improvement for the people who live on the west side of Vernon Township. We were able to, in fact, reclaim and resurface the length of Lake Walkill Road from the entrance of Lake Walkill, where the county road ends, actually to its intersection with Glenwood Mountain Road. Now, those of you who live over there know that originally we had talked about going only to Owen Station Road. We found, because of the cost of asphalt and some other aspects, that we could go the rest of the way from Owen Station to Glenwood Mountain Road, and in fact, we have done that. So phase 1 and 2 actually are finished on the Lake Walkill Road. The next step is from Glenwood Mountain Road to the New York State line. And I think I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that I have some concerns about the commitment that was made to Vernon Township by the Wildlife Refuge. Not that they won't keep their commitment, they will. But if Vernon Township were to accept that grant money to finish the last section of road, the actual cost to the township in terms of the way that they would have to change their accounting system, the manner in which the road was constructed, the things that the township would be required to, in fact, include because there was federal money, may very well preclude that section from being done with federal money, which means that there obviously is a task yet to be achieved by the administration that comes in on January 1st. The other two projects, which are the salt shed and the impound building, I'll talk to you about in just a moment when we come back.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. As I mentioned, there are two other major capital projects that I'd like to talk to you about, and I think the first one to start with is the salt storage shed. And as you know, we invested a little bit less than $500,000 in creating and building a salt storage shed. That's a tough one to say, try it. Which is capable of holding 6,000 tons of salt. That number wasn't an arbitrary number. I think I've told you in the past, but I want to reiterate. What we did was we went back and we took a look at how much salt Vernon Township has purchased over the last 15 years. And never in that time frame did we ever purchase more than 6,000 tons. So the fact of the matter is, while it's unlikely that this year we'll be putting 6,000 tons into that facility, we have the capability to store it. And by the way, we have the money in what's known as the Salt and Snow Trust Fund to be able to do it also, so that the new administration coming in will be left in very good stead in terms of having the materials necessary to keep Vernon roads open during the winter storms, something that we've been known for a very, very long time. The last major project is the impound building. That project is complete and in fact has begun to be used. There is one further thing that needs to be done, and that is to in fact run the underground line for the electricity and hook it up. Remember, it's an impound building. It's not a building that people are going to be in all of the time. It's there so that evidence that has to be preserved for legal reasons can be done so in a secure manner. And we now have one of the finest impound facilities anywhere in Sussex County. That particular project is a tribute to the people who work in the DPW, because you will remember that, as I've told you so many times in the past, that was done with our own labor. And by using our own labor, we were able to save over $40,000 in the total cost of the project. The lowest bid that we received was for approximately $110,000 to do that project. We brought that project in total cost at $62,000 so far. If you add the electrical service to it, even if you were going to say $5,000, which I don't believe it'll be, but if it was, we're still under $70,000. That's a savings of $40,000. Your town employees have done a great job for you there, as they did with the addition to the Animal Control Center, which all of you who have been there have raved about. Hopefully, the new government will understand the value of the asset that we have in terms of our people and their multi-talented and their ability, in fact, to do these kinds of projects and save the taxpayers money. And so those are the three major projects. They stand completed, and as I leave office on December 31st, I am pleased to tell you and proud to tell you that everything that we started here in terms of capital projects, starting all the way back in 2011, have been completed, and you and I, the residents, the citizens of Vernon Township, will benefit from them as we go forward. If I had to pick one thing that I would like to be credited with or known for, or my legacy, if you would, it's the CVS on the corner of Route 94 and Main Street. Any one of you who have driven through the town center and seen that building and that facility cannot help but be impressed. It's a beautiful facility, and in fact will be one of the flagships for the ultimate development of Vernon's town center. And if we're successful in continuing to construct those kinds of buildings for the new businesses that come to Vernon Township, we too will have a beautiful town center with its own personality. And so on the 21st of this month, I'm proud to announce that CVS will have a ribbon cutting and be open to the public. December 21st. That's actually this coming Monday. Please watch the newspapers and the ads. And when you have an opportunity, go see the new CVS. If you haven't yet, it's beautiful. I'll be back in just a minute.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Coffee Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. I want to speak to you for a few moments about some things that are unfinished. One in particular, and it's extremely important, and that has to do with the appeal process that we have been involved in, we being Vernon Township, have been involved in with FEMA now for well in excess of 4 years in regard to reimbursement for the damages that were caused by Irene to our homeowners associations and lake communities. Now, I've spoken to this several times, but to cut to the quick, here's where we're at. We were successful in appealing to FEMA on reimbursements that they had denied for several of the lake communities. And in fact, at the end of the first appeal, they agreed that they would reimburse at the 75% rate, which is allowed by law. However, they disallowed, I shouldn't say that, they didn't disallow, they did not approve certain work orders that were being requested for reimbursement, stating that they did not believe that they met the criteria of the New Jersey Municipal Services Act. We immediately upon notification, we being this office and my administrative staff, including our municipal clerk, Lauren Kirkman, our CFO, Elke Yetter, our business administrator, myself, Lauren Kirkman's assistant, Carol Boxer, who works in the clerk's office, and myself, immediately upon notification of the results of the first appeal, began the process for another appeal, the second appeal, which we're entitled to by law. The information that was requested of us by FEMA has been completed and forwarded to Joseph Brisky, who is the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management Director, and he actually is our conduit to the federal government. The information has been sent to him, and in fact, we are awaiting a notification as to when we will get a hearing in front of the FEMA people in Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, that isn't going to happen until after the first of the year. And so it's extremely important that someone in the new administration be capable of presenting the facts and testifying before the people at FEMA, because, and this is something I haven't said up until now, but if FEMA doesn't reimburse these lake communities, we, the taxpayers of Vernon, under the Municipal Services Act, I believe are responsible. Ladies and gentlemen, that number I'm talking about is somewhere in the area of $380,000 to $400,000 spread across some, 8 to 10 communities. And to be frank with you, it's extremely important. It's extremely important that the new incoming mayor and the new incoming governing body understand that this is one of those issues that if the ball gets dropped, it's going to be extremely expensive. I made these comments last night during the mayor's report to the Township Council because I believe at this point in time it is one of the most important issues that is yet to be resolved. And so I would ask you that you keep your eye on it. I would ask you that, in fact, you continue, those of you who have a specific interest, continue to see to it that the administration and the town council that takes over our government January 1 addresses this issue and does it effectively. I'll be back in just a minute.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Hi, I'm Shannon Sweeney. I've been a player or coach for most of my life, and I understand the need to keep our kids motivated and safe. As a parent and coach, I also understand the need to make sure our children are protected. That's why insurance is as an important part of the game as a good coach is. I've known my fellow coach, Wayne Dietz, for 10 years. I've seen him motivate and inspire players both on and off the floor. I've also seen him make sure that our children are safe by making sure that the teams are properly insured. As a coach, we don't often think about insurance, and when you work with Wayne and his team at D&H Risk Solutions, you won't have to. They take care of everything with honesty and integrity so that you can focus on what you do best, coaching your team to victory.
Welcome back. While we're talking about things that are completed and in progress, I have spoken to you in the past about the no net loss grant that we were successful in gaining from the New Jersey Department of Forestry and the New Jersey DEP. The money for that grant came from fines that were levied against the Tennessee Gas Pipeline. We have completed phase one, and in fact we have planted in excess of 280 trees of the 1,200 plus trees that will be planted in Vernon Township on public property in our effort to, in fact, reforest and try to ameliorate some of the damage that was done by the pipeline that has gone through Vernon Township. And so that project is well on its way, and I'm sure that it will be continued as we move forward. I cannot believe that the energy that was shown by the Environmental Commission and its chairperson, Mrs. Buds, is going to dissipate. It is something that they truly are committed to. And while that has happened, something else has happened that you need to know about. We in Vernon Township have been notified by the Tennessee Gas Pipeline that they have approached the New Jersey DEP for permission to go into several areas in Vernon Township that are in need of remediation already. Now, that new pipeline has only been in the ground 3 years, and yet there are 5 areas along that pipeline, all of which are in wetlands that are exhibiting corrosion and dents, which you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out. What that means is the potential for leakage is great. Now, what's happening as a result? What's happening is that the company is going back into the wetlands. They are forced to raise the pipeline out of the wetlands and, in fact, remediate it. My understanding of that is that they're going to put sleeves on the outside of the already corroded pipe. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't mean to be an alarmist, and I'm certainly not a radical environmentalist, but I have had enough experience here as your mayor and as a freeholder and involved in government to know that if one of those pipelines should spring a leak, that natural gas that's being pumped at a very high pressure and high temperature, the average temperature inside that pipeline is in excess of 125 degrees, it will devastate the wetlands. It will devastate the wetlands. And you say, so what? Well, here's so what. It's the wetlands that serve as the filter, Mother Nature's filter, to keep toxins and other pollutants out of the water table. Now, this company, Tennessee Gas Pipeline, received a letter from Vernon Township signed by our chairman of the Land Use Board upon a unanimous vote there, myself as the mayor, the president of the council, again, upon a unanimous vote there, as well as the chairwoman of the Environmental Commission and a unanimous vote there, telling the Tennessee Gas Pipeline that we wanted to know exactly what they're doing there and why. And that's one of the reasons that I'm able to share with you tonight the information I'm sharing to you. I don't want to sound like an alarmist, but I want to tell you that the first pipeline that went through Vernon some 25 years ago has not experienced the kind of situation that we're talking about now with the new 300 line that goes through Vernon. And why is that, you might ask? There are those who would say that it's the natural gas that is coming from fracking that is abrasive and that has in it elements that will corrode the pipes that it's being forced through at high pressure. Do I know that to be the case? I'm not a scientist, but I do know that after only 3 years, there shouldn't be corrosion and loss of metal, which is the way Tennessee Gas Pipeline, speaks about the situation. I know that your Environmental Commission is on top of it. Last evening, it was, again, part of the discussion with the town council, and hopefully the new administration will give it its full and complete support for the Environmental Commission and those who are charged with protecting our environment in Vernon. I'll be back in just a minute.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. I've tried this evening to bring you up to date on some of the important issues. On the good news side of the ledger, again, it remains to be seen what the new administration does, but I can tell you that the budget the work document budget that we prepared, myself, Bill Zuckerman, and Elke Yetter as the Finance Committee here under this administration, have worked through what we call the first cut of the budget, having met with department heads. I can tell you that budget, that budget work that's been done already and has hence been passed on to the new mayor for his perusal. There's not one department that has asked for more money this year than they got last year. Not one. That would be 5 years in a row, ladies and gentlemen. 5 years in a row that the actual appropriations, the amount of money requested by the departments to run their departments, has not significantly increased. In this particular case, it hasn't increased at all. Does that mean that your property taxes won't go up in 2016? I don't know. I don't know what the new administration is going to do. But I'll be watching, I can assure you that, and I would hope that all of you will be too, because we worked very, very hard. And when I say we, I mean the employees, I mean the town council, I mean all of the boards and commissions and all of the employees who work for Vernon Township worked very hard to in fact maintain a lower tax rate and at the very worst a flat tax rate over the last 4 years. And to be frank with you, I believe that that's one of the reasons that we have begun, not the only, but one of the reasons that we have begun to experience an uptick of investment in our town center by large corporations who look for stability. I mentioned CVS in an earlier segment, one of the largest corporations in the pharmacy industry in the country. You all know that Taco Bell has gotten approval to build a Taco Bell. That's a subsidiary of Yum Brands. Yum Brands is one of the world's largest purveyor of prepared foods. They are the owners of Kentucky Fried Chicken or KFC. They are the owners of Pizza Hut. They are the owners of Taco Bell and a myriad of others, other food brands throughout the world. Those kinds of companies invest in a given community based on a lot of criteria, okay? And one of them, one very important one, is stability in the tax rate, something that was not being seen anywhere around the northeast part of the United States, and certainly not around New Jersey. We were able to achieve that, and I believe that that has set the stage and set the table for the continued monitored and managed growth of our town center. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the only way that we are going to be able to meet the rising cost of government without raising your property taxes, and that is to develop the commercial, recreational, ratable base along the sewer and water lines that now exist in Vernon, so that in fact that commercial tax ratable can help to offset any increased costs that we're going to face as we go down the road. Because certainly you recognize that even though we've been able to hold the line in terms of requests, there are certain things that we have no control over. I've spoken to you in the past about them. Obamacare. By 2018, ladies and gentlemen, we will be paying a excise tax. Vernon Township will be paying an excise tax through its premium to its health carrier, which is at present Blue Cross Blue Shield, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield, of, if my memory serves me right, 40% of the premium for health insurance. Now, our premium for health insurance this past year, 2015, was $3.3 million. Anticipate that that'll raise some over the next 3 years. If it runs with the market, it'll be somewhere between 2 and 4%. However, by the time we get to 2018, that means $1.2 million roughly increase in excise tax to the federal government to cover the costs of Obamacare. And by the way, when that happens, if you have health benefits wherever you work, whether it's in the township or anywhere else, it now becomes taxable personal income. So those beautiful health plans that you have, or even the ones that aren't so beautiful, if the health plan costs your employer $10,000 a year, you now just got taxed $10,000 more on your personal income. Now, I'm not here to sell or bash Obamacare, but I am here to tell you that those kinds of problems still loom on the horizon, but that will always be the case because this is a vibrant town. This is an area that is extremely active, and I believe we've set our sail in the right direction, and if we just stay the course, we will be successful in making this an affordable, wonderful place for all of us to live. It's been my honor, it's been my pleasure, and I thank you for the opportunity to have served as your mayor. Being the first popularly elected mayor is something I will always hold dear in my heart, and I thank you for that honor. May God bless you. May your holidays be wonderful. I'll look forward to talking to you again in the future. Thank you.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Hi, I'm Shannon Sweeney. I've been a player or coach for most of my life, and I understand the need to keep our kids motivated and safe. As a parent and coach, I also understand the need to make sure our children are protected. That's why insurance is as an important part of the game as a good coach is. I've known my fellow coach, Wayne Dietz, for 10 years. I've seen him motivate and inspire players both on and off the floor. I've also seen him make sure that our children are safe by making sure that the teams are properly insured. As a coach, we don't often think about insurance, and when you work with Wayne and his team at D&H Risk Solutions, you won't have to. They take care of everything with honesty and integrity so that you can focus on what you do best, coaching your team to victory.